TINUBU creates Ministry of Livestock Development. So the President Bola Tinubu on Tuesday announced the creation of Federal Ministry of Livestock Development. The president announced while inaugurating the renewed Hope Livestock Reform Implementation Committee at the Presidential Villa, Abuja, but the President Tinubu did not mention the name of the minister for the new ministry, as it is expected that he has to forward the name to the Senate for screening and confirmation if it is a nominee. So here is the conversation that we are having today. And as always, I have my co-hosts with me who will be analyzing this section with me. You're welcome to the show. So I would like to hear your thoughts on the livestock ministry creation. I mean, it's supposed to be a welcoming development, considering the fact that the President Tinubu's led administration wants to consider venturing into livestock. I mean, if farming is not profitable any longer, beyond profitable, if farming is not a thing that we can do, we can invest in livestock. But then coming at a time like this where Nigerians are lamenting, Nigerians are complaining, and we're looking at how to cut down cost of governance, and considering that there was a recent review of the Orosoye's report, which is talking about cutting down cost of governance and all of that. What do you think of this creation of new ministry? Should we welcome it as it has come, or what are some other things that we can consider on this new ministry?
Well, asking if we should consider it, we need to understand that we are dealing with people who do not even seek our approval over things that they are set to do. Like you rightly said, the creation of that office should be a welcome development. But now, what I want to say or ask is, so long the name for the appointed person has not gone through these necessary procedures and approval that will allow his name to be mentioned, why inaugurate him? Why go ahead when everything that needed to be done has not been settled? And that I want to say that are they really creating this office to function? Since we have offices that have been created that are not functioning, or is another channel for allocations for us to begin to hear of money allocated to this office, because we keep on hearing, this amount has been channeled to this sector, and this amount in huge amount, channeled to sources that are not functioning, that are not delivering the purposes they are standing for. Okay, so is this hope this creation of this office, judging from the fact that even his name, for his name not to have been mentioned in his inauguration, it means that the things that needed to be done, every procedure that needed has not been carried out. So why the rush? Because I'm sure that it will not take time. It will not be long, and we'll begin to hear of money being allocated to his office, of course, or creation of his own office. So why the rush? And will this man or this office really serve its purpose? Yesterday, we took a story here of how money that have been channeled to some sectors are not actually being, for the real purpose that we are seeing. Okay, so this government, we want to believe that this livestock office that have been created will function. And again, if we can work towards creating a new office, how well are the offices that are in existence functioning? You are talking about the government diving into livestock, a good thing. Yes, it's a good thing. But what has happened to our farming? Livestock and farming should go together. What has happened to our farming in Nigeria, farming sector? What effort is the government making to ensure that the country, the land is conducive for farmers to farm on? What are they? What is the assurance that what is making farming difficult in Nigeria will not affect this new office they are creating? right? So if they will not just go into creating offices and channeling money, resources to that, I think they should be more focused on making the existing ones to work.
All right. I was actually coming in from that perspective that as good as this plan is, I think to some extent we the federal government needs to start weighing their options. Like we have, I think Nigerians should come to terms that our consent is not needed before the Mr. President will make decision. I think we should come to terms with that and see that your consent, your opinion does not matter in this case. Whatever, for whatever reason he has created that or ministry, it is for it is left to him to explain that. And another thing to also look at is that we are looking at creation of ministry in February, March 2024. Earlier this year, we looked at the Mr. President wanted to implement the Oronsoye's report, a over 800 pages article written by Oronsoye that talk about cutting down cost of governance. That if we implement that report, we can actually cut down cost of governance and we have enough money in the national treasury. Some of these MDAs that we are having currently, they will be merged and all of that. And they said they will subject that report to review. Until date, there is no follow-up on the review of that report and how it will be implemented, which states that Mr. President did not even think about it. Somebody just told him, let's implement Oronsoye's report. He implemented it. He said, okay, we need to review it. Whether or not they review it is still unknown to Nigerians. And Mr. President was talking about it then, that we are looking at how we can cut down cost of governance. Now, if at all we want to cut down cost of governance, in which a lot of lawmakers, a lot of senators, and some of those MDAs, they came out then and said, do you want to make us lose our jobs? Fine. They didn't lose their jobs. Now, you're talking about creation of a ministry now. Definitely, if you want to create a ministry, money will go into the creation of that ministry.
Definitely.
There will be a minister. For the fact that we have about 47 ministers already, a minister will be in charge of that ministry. There will be offices allocated to him. There will be special advisors allocated to him. There will be budgets allocated to him on how they will go about the functionality of that ministry.
Sure.
Those are the things that they've not considered those parts, even though whoever that will be nominated to be in charge of this ministry is not out. And you mentioned some of the functioning ministries that are not, the ministries that are available. I don't want to use that word functioning.
No,
the
ones that have been created.
The already created ministries that are not functioning. And there's the Ministry of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development. And this was a ministry created by the federal government that is to take charge of rural development, livestock farming, whatever it is.
Livestock should be
under the Ministry of Agriculture. So why is the livestock ministry not under agriculture? Why create another ministry? Why create another ministry out of it when we can actually merge all of this? All of these ministries can actually work in handy. So it is bringing us to conclude on wastage. What we see is wastage. You want to create another ministry where there is already an existing ministry that can take up the duty of this new ministry. So why waste such money?
An economy that find it difficult to pay their existing workers well, yet you are creating offices that will bring in more workers that will populate the workforce, right? The thing talking about the Oronsoye's reports, you see, they cannot adopt any report or ideology that will enable the minimization of their lifestyle, their lifestyle. Okay, of course, in as much as his report is a very good one that will favor Nigeria, but we are seeing it, very clear that the people we have in power are not people who have the interest of the people. All right, they don't want. If you talk about cutting the cost of governance, the cost on who is it going to, the effect going to be? It will be on them. And because they are enjoying the fact that they are growing fat and Nigerians are growing thin, they are not willing to cut the cost of governance. And that is why, until, like you said, that Nigerians should by now, get used to the fact that Mr. President is not a person who wants to consider the interest of the people over anything that he wants to execute, which ought not to be so. If democracy is actually a government of the people by the people, the president is not, of course, by law, So judging from what is playing out now, this person's name ought to have gone through a process that will enable him to mention his name on his inauguration.
Well, no, let's just say that this is one of the APC person that is in so need of a job, or
That
they are looking
maybe
for
they must
ways
have
that they want to.
promised
They are looking
to
for
fix somewhere.
Yeah, they are looking for ways to just gulp out money from the national treasury, and they see that they can't do that because Nigerians are beginning to get used to their system. That when see this amount of money goes out, they know they are already a system in place to checkmate whatever it is that they are doing, and they are looking, okay, what can we do? Then they decide to create a new ministry. Create a new ministry so they can gulp out money.
Talking about
that
that,
ministry.
Was it not on this table we took a story of where money was forwarded to private account, contrary to the system of the law? All right, we are seeing that under this administration, lots of irregularities are playing out. These people don't obey the law they created. So because nobody is coming to check them, they know that nobody will question them. They've been doing it and they've been getting away with it, and truly they will keep on doing it. So I want to say that the creation of this office is not just for one person's benefit. Of course, you know that more people will be employed under that, that ministry.
And you see, the thing is that, for those private companies that the government forwarded money to, they know that there is already a system that is tracking their activities, and they don't want it to be like that. So creating a new ministry, people can say that, okay, this is a new ministry. Obviously they are going to get paid and all of that. So this system, this administration has a systematic way of embezzling money legitimately. You embezzle money and there's a justification for embezzling that money. So that is what we see playing out here. But then a Ministry of Livestock, it can be infused with Ministry of Agriculture.
On the contrary, it is this idea of embezzlement and with a tag, with a justifying tag, it's before now. You mentioned something that they've noticed that there are systems that are checkmating them. All right. And that is why they are being careful. They are being careful because if not, I'm sure they won't be systematic. They won't try to be diplomatic in their way of doing things because they now know that people are checking them. So I think Nigerians should just have to step up. Nigerians have to do better than they are doing already, because if we keep quiet, man, these people will sell this country. And of course, most of them have most of these people have abode in other countries. Is it what's come to us? You will see that most of them, their children are not in the country. They will leave the country. So that is why, because they say that soldier go, soldier come. Barrack will not remain empty. For Nigeria not to be empty, for us not to be sold out, I think Nigerians need to brace up. In as much as we have some secret sectors that are checkmating what is happening in the government sectors, we equally we need to not relax and say God will touch them. These people have sold their conscience. If we keep quiet, things will go so bad.
All right. In another story, the Nigerian police sent man who climbed masts in Abuja from mental tests. May charge him to court. On this table since, I think, on Monday, right?
Yes.
We took the story of a man who was seen climbing a mast in Abuja, who attempted to kill himself because he wanted a change in governance. He wanted the TINUBU-led administration to look into the plight of Nigerians. But it is so unfortunate that his good acts is about to lead him to prison, because currently the Nigerian police in the Federal Capital Territory, FCT Abuja, has sent the man who climbed a radio mast, Shuaibu Alhaji Yushau, to the Social Development Secretariat, SDS, for mental assessment and evaluation. And according to the story, it is stated that according to the section 231, 100, section 111 and section 114 of the Penal Code Act, if this man is found to be mentally stable after the test has been conducted on him, he will be sentenced to 1 year imprisonment for attempted suicide. Here is the conversation. I mean, it is no. I thought the fundamental human right says that there is right to life. The right to life, that you have the right to live, and obviously, right, when you have the right to live, you as well have the right to die.
Kill yourself.
To kill yourself. So apparently,
say, I'm tired of this government. Let me
exactly
go.
exactly. So apparently now this man who said, I want to die for Nigerian's sake now.
That man was catching cruise.
That man was going to blame himself. But then he's about to be sentenced to prison. And I want to hear your thoughts on this.
Well, I said it when we took the story last time that normally if you want to die, people die, and the man just, let me say, he brought this upon himself, because to me, I feel that energy, it was the whole energy to climb the Radio Max. If you really want to die for Nigeria.
That's the stress. So he could have just have a calculated thoughts, like by the time I'm climbing, maybe his leg will slip, he will just fall down. And it is a calculated risk.
What if he fall and he didn't die?
It is a calculated risk, unlike having to go through the pain of drinking sniper, poison himself. We are cruising with this currently, but then it is just so sad that what he thought, he didn't see all of these things.
No, to me, I feel it's just like you say, it's a calculated act. All right, if he really had wanted to kill himself, I saw another story, from another source that said a man who protested against TINUBU's government by trying to, they put it in different forms. So to me, they want to see it as a protest, for reason being that he was making demand. Person we want that, no, they make demand now. All right. So in as much as, should I say, the man has taken the wrong step, but the government, the requests are good, genuine.
Exactly. The requests are genuine. Even the requests are not. No, the request is no longer being considered now.
No.
What they are saying now is that according to the section 303 of the Nigerian Constitution of the Penal Code Act, that this man who has attempted murder is going to die. So what happened to his request? He wanted to die for a cause. It is not just because he wanted to take his life.
According to the same law, there is a section of the same law that forbids the government to send money to private accounts. And we saw that play out, and nobody was sentenced to prison for that act. According to the same law, under certain sections, there are laws that forbid some of the way things have been done in the country. There is a law that permits the people, the citizens, to go into peaceful protest. And sometimes we see the government abuse this law. So why is it? I always say here that when it has to do with them, they bend the law. When it has to do with others or the masses, they bring the law to play. All right, this man is making out a request, not even a selfish request, a request for the people. And of course, an insane man cannot make such requests. So why tag him insane when he's making request that is in alliance to what is happening in the country? So to me, they want to deviate from the point and take advantage of his mistake, to punish him. Meanwhile, we have people who empower, people who commit, acts that are punishable by the law, and we see them going scot-free. We have people who we just take a story of somebody that was accused of mismanagement of fund and all that, and these things, people do these things in millions, in billions, and nothing has happened to them. So why an individual, a man that just feel like his own way of coming out to represent his country, to say, this thing, we are tired of this governance, so and you say you want to charge him to court, you want to sentence him to, it's a miss. We see that this administration is just a clear fact that this administration is not bent on, or is not ready to listen to the cry of the people.
It is just so sad that on the long run, this man, this man is going to be sentenced to 1 year imprisonment.
Imagine.
You see, on the same offense, you see what we're still playing out in Nigeria is that people do things that they ought to be punished and they are not punished for
At
it.
all.
Meanwhile, the one who does not have the voice gets punished for it. You know, that's a point earlier this year. EFCC said spraying of naira is called naira mutilation. You'll be sentenced to 6 months imprisonment. The people did not have anybody to speak for them were sentenced were sentenced to prison for 6 months. Meanwhile, those people, our top politicians, they are doing these things, same things that they were not sentenced for it. And speaking on the protest that is going to happen now, the police now they've disbursed a press release. They've sent out a press release that at this junction that all these youths said they are going to gather, police officers should be stationed at this junction so that they will prevent any form of protest that will happen from the 1st and the 10th of August 2024. This is another story entirely, but because of this man in question is the reason why I'm bringing this up, that the Nigerian government is not sensitive. It is so sad that this man is going to be sentenced to prison, but his request is not considered. If at all that this man will go, okay, what you said, there's a justification for what you wanted to do. We are going to look into it. But this particular offense that you have committed is a punishable offense under the law. It won't prevent you from going into from being sentenced to prison for what you have done, but we are going to review what you have said. It would have been a consolation for the man. It would have been a consolation for him. But then this man is just like any average Nigerian who has ever spoken up for the right thing.
Had it been that man was spotted on that mask singing praises of Mr. President,
he would have trended.
Will he have been sentenced to prison?
He will trend.
So the thing is that this government, this administration is up against anyone who is confident enough to speak against them. They don't want I'm sure that what they are doing to them, they see at this point we are now talking about what the press release of the police. You see, at this point in time now, Nigeria has gotten to the point where they can no longer be intimidated when they are set to do a thing. Now, they are doing that thing possibly to inject fear into anyone who would want to trade the same path. Not really because the man has not outlined good points, but because they want to use him. Should I say they will say they want to use him as a scapegoat so that nobody else will want to. But we know that people who has people in power do worse things and they get free. They are not punished for it. Okay, so why are the government, a system that is supposed to be concerned about the citizens, why are they not being sensitive? Why are they not being concerned about the demand of the people? Why are they not being concerned? So to me, I believe that nothing. Recently, I saw a story that NLC, though people are no longer talking about them anymore because of their unseriousness of giving another ultimatum to the federal government, and of course, threatening to go on a strike. So to me, if protest is going to happen in Nigeria based on bad governance, nothing can stop it. Not even their threat can stop it.
All right. We are going to end on that note. Not even the threats of the government can stop the people from doing what it is that they have in mind to do. And it is so sad on this man's case that he will be sentenced to 1 year imprisonment after being tested that he is mentally stable. On this note, this is all that we can take on the newspaper review segment for today. But before we leave the studio, we'd like that you follow us on all our social media platforms. On Facebook, we're Prime Media TV. On Instagram and TikTok, we're Prime Media Studios. On the website where you're currently watching us, we are enginespeak.com. And you can do well to follow us on YouTube at Enginespeak. I am Ayo. Until I come your way again, do have a great day.